Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith, and it's been a while since we reviewed a card by our good friend Arceus, the first person to be brave enough to put his cards out to be reviewed. So, we're going to take a look at some of his cards. These are from a set called Etheria. This one, I don't know how to pronounce that. Etheria. I'm gonna go with Etheria. All right, so what do we got here? We've got an HonoredFelidar. Okay, we got a Felidar. Cool art, actually. I don't know where you found this this tiger with this beard, long beard here. It's pretty neat. All right, so we got a 4-mana common. Love me some commons. This is a 4-mana 3/4. Okay. Pretty good, decent stats. Nothing to write home about. But, you wouldn't play a vanilla 4-mana 3/4, but there's other text on this card, so let's find out what it is. When HonoredFelidar enters the battlefield, exile the top 2 cards of your library. If you would draw a card, you may instead put a card exiled with HonoredFelidar into its owner's hand. Okay, so let's see here. When it enters the battlefield, exile the top 2 cards of your library. If you would draw a card, you may instead put a card exiled with HonoredFelidar into its owner's hand. Okay. Okay. Oh. By the way, I have a handy dandy tool now. I can do this. Boom! Isn't that excellent? Wait, how do I? Oh no. Oh no. Control Z. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when you exile cards, I assume you can look at them. I assume they're not face down. Now, are these? I have to look at the rules. If you exile the top 2 cards of your library, so your opponent will also be able to see them, right? So they go into the exile zone face up, I believe, by default. Okay, so this thing comes in. You have the 2 cards exiled, and then if you would draw a card, you may instead put a card. Okay, so I kind of get it. It's sort of like, okay, you exile 2 cards, and then this sort of gives you the ability to if there's something in that pile of exiled cards that you really want badly, then you can use your draw step to. It doesn't actually have to be your draw step, right? You could play a card draw card, and you can use that to kind of get the card you want. So it's sort of like a little what's the word? I guess I can quote Al Gore here and call it a lockbox. It's like a lockbox with a couple of little cards in it. And then, yeah, if it happens to be, maybe there's a removal spell in there, your opponent plays something you got to deal with. Of course, they get to see it too. So, they'll know that you have the removal spell. So they're likely going to slow roll their big thing. But anyway, the point is, put a couple cards in there. Sometimes you'll get 2 lands, right? And then you might use this if you need a land drop. But, at 4 mana, you're likely, pretty good with your lands. I mean, not always, right? But, you'll have at least 4. That's usually enough to cast most of your cards in limited. Sorry. I have to mark. So, yeah, so sometimes this will be weak and sometimes it'll be quite strong. Because you'll get 2 good cards and kind of gives you the ability to. I mean, one of them you would have drawn anyway, and then the other. I mean, you would have drawn both of them anyway had you not used this. But this basically, it's not card advantage, right? But it's card selection. So it's sort of it's a little bit like. This is pretty unique, actually. I mean, this is a very unique effect, and I find it actually to be kind of quite cool. Sorry, I put my mic on mute there because I can't really think of too many parallels with this card. I mean, red comes to mind, right? Red likes to exile cards and then cast them this turn, but this is not that, right? This is exiling cards, putting them into your hand. So I like this card. This card's cool. You know, it's. I don't think I've ever seen something like this before. Now, Jadefire will tell me different. He'll tell me some card that does a similar thing, but at least I have not seen this before, so that's pretty cool. And honestly, I don't mind it being in white, really. I mean, first of all, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is something I've never seen. You know, doing this is something I've never actually seen before, so I don't really have a problem with white doing that because it doesn't necessarily have a color home as far as I know, right? So I mean, a couple other colors that do like card exiling would be like red. So we could look at like scryfall.com, and we'll go find our light up the stage. So here you exile the top 2 cards of your library until end turn you can play those cards, right? But this is not the same thing as our man here because these kind of go in a lockbox, and you can put them in your hand whenever you would draw a card. The other thing is oh no, I can't remember. Well, here we can use, so black and black-blue tends to be the color pair that does this. Does another thing kind of like this. So let's look at the Fallen Shinobi, for example. Right? Oh, geez, what is this? Okay. When Fallen Shinobi deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top 2 cards of their library. Until end of turn, you may play those cards without paying their mana cost. So this is still a card advantage. I mean, this is obviously way better than that because you're playing them without their mana cost. But there's other cards that let you just like cast them by paying the cost. Gonti, for example. Gonti, Lord of Luxury, right? This is a straight up black card that does it. Black doesn't do this very often, though. This is pretty unique for black. But blue-black tends to do stuff like this relatively often. But, again, not like this. So I find that to be very cool. And I don't have, like I said, I don't really have a problem with white doing that. So yeah, I like Honored Felidar. It's got a decent body, so it's gonna be able to block pretty well. It's, you know, it's relevant on the board. And it gives you a nice little bit of card selection. So it's like maybe a little bit similar to a Scry. I mean, obviously it functions very differently, but it still sort of gives you that type of card selection. So pretty cool. I like this card. I like it. Yeah, and it's kind of hard to know like how strong this effect is. I mean, one thing that's also interesting is like even if you kind of whiff on this, like let's say you exile 2 lands, you're at least getting those 2 lands out of your deck so that you're not going to draw them, right? And if you do want to draw them, then you have them in your lockbox, right? So yeah, very cool, very cool. I'm a fan of Honored Felidar. So what rating do we give Honored Felidar? I mean, so as far as like the card presentation, it's basically perfect, right? I see no issues with it. Art's great. You know, doesn't seem imbalanced to me at all. Gameplay seems pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a 9 out of 10 card. You know what? I'm gonna give this one actually a 10 out of 10. Basically, it's got a, you know, it seems perfectly playable in limited, which is something that you know that's where commons are really relevant, and you know, it's even got this really unique effect that I've never seen before, and that's something that really makes me want to give this a 10 out of 10. Is I haven't really seen this before. So yeah, very cool, very good job, Arceus. You get the first 10 out of 10 ever given out. Cool. Love it. Love this card. And I'll see you guys next time.